Most people don't realize this, but your brain, and the spiritual realm, have been waiting for you to do one thing, and what you did recently just sent a shockwave through your entire destiny. Psychologists call this pattern breaking, but in the kingdom, it's known as divine alignment. Your habits, your relationships, and your future timeline are all influenced by whether you react from your wounds or respond from your spirit. Once you understand this, you'll see why your life has suddenly felt so intense. But here's where it gets even more serious. Most people stop here and think their small choices don't matter. That is the biggest lie the enemy wants you to believe. Here is the painful truth: heaven isn't waiting on God to move, heaven is waiting on you to move. Psychology says the enemy, and your own trauma, counts on your predictability. They expected you to fold, to panic, and to return to that old toxic cycle. But when you chose silence over an argument, or peace over panic, you shattered their calculations. And this next part explains why certain people are suddenly acting distant or confused around you. Your shift changed the atmosphere they used to control. This happens because your spirit reached a threshold of maturity. Your mind used to think, I have to defend myself to survive. But the reality is, you finally realize that your identity is not found in your battles, but in your calling. By refusing to react to the old triggers, you didn't just win a moment, you canceled a spiritual contract that was designed to keep you small for another 10 years. If that felt like a weight lifting off your chest, good. It means you finally recognize the authority you've been ignoring. You aren't lucky, you are recalibrated. If you want to accelerate this new season, start the vibration of authority habit. Every time an old wound is poked, wait 5 seconds before you speak. In those 5 seconds, remind yourself, I no longer live in that version of me. You aren't just being patient, you are commanding the spiritual realm to align with the new, matured version of your soul. Most people will go back to their old reactions tomorrow and wonder why their life is standing still. You just saw the truth. Don't go back to being predictable. Walk like someone heaven is watching. Here is a psychology fact you are not ready for: the most dangerous person to the kingdom of darkness isn't the one who prays the loudest, it's the one who has become spiritually unpredictable. Most people don't realize this, but your brain, and the spiritual realm, have been waiting for you to do one specific thing. And what you did recently? It didn't just change your day. It sent a massive, tectonic shockwave through your entire destiny. You felt it, didn't you? That strange stillness after the storm. That moment where you should have broken, but you didn't. If you do this, if you continue to walk in this new frequency, the harsh psychology fact is going to hurt the version of you that was comfortable being a victim. Most people don't realize this, but your brain has been lying to you about your capacity to handle pressure. It told you that you were fragile. It told you that you would always react the same way to the same pain. But heaven is watching you right now because you just proved your brain wrong. You just proved the enemy wrong. You just proved your lineage wrong. Psychologists call this pattern breaking, but in the kingdom, we call this divine alignment. For years, you have been operating under what I call the contract of delay. This is a psychological and spiritual feedback loop where your past trauma dictates your future reactions. Your relationships, your habits, your financial flow, and even your physical health, all of it is influenced by this one psychological pattern. You see, the brain loves the familiar, even if the familiar is painful. You were wired to react to disrespect with rage. You were wired to react to abandonment by begging. And because you were predictable, you were controllable. If the enemy knows exactly which button to push to make you spiral, he doesn't have to work hard to keep you out of your promised land. He just waits for you to reach a certain level of success, pushes the insecurity button, and watches you dismantle your own progress. Once you understand this, you'll see why you felt like you've been walking in circles for years. It wasn't that God wasn't moving, it's that you were reacting so predictably that you kept landing back at the same starting line. But here is where it gets even more serious, and this is the part where most people stop watching because the truth becomes too heavy. Most people stop here and assume that their small choices the choice to stay quiet, the choice to forgive, the choice to not check that person's social media, don't matter. They think breakthroughs only happen in big moments, like a promotion or a wedding. That is the biggest mistake you can make. The breakthrough didn't happen when the money arrived, the breakthrough happened in the 5 seconds when you decided not to be the old version of yourself. Here's the painful part: heaven isn't waiting on God to move, heaven is waiting on you to move out of the way of your own miracle. Psychology tells us that the enemy, and your own trauma, counts on your predictability. This is the dark truth of human behavior: we are creatures of biological habit. Your nervous system has a comfort zone in misery. Some of you have lived in survival mode for so long that when peace actually shows up, your brain treats it as a threat. You start looking for problems because quiet feels like the calm before the storm. Here is the harsh psychology: people don't keep hurting you because they are powerful, they keep hurting you because you have a psychological hook that allows them to remain relevant in your life. But something changed recently. You had an opportunity to engage in the old drama. You had a chance to defend your reputation to people who don't even matter. You had a chance to sink back into that depression. And for the first time in your life, you didn't. You were silent. You were still. You were unbothered. This shocked the spiritual realm. Why? Because you broke the biological contract. You proved that you are no longer a slave to your amygdala. You proved that your spirit is now in the driver's seat, not your trauma. When you stop being predictable to your past, you become a magnet for your future. The dark part of this truth is realizing how many years we wasted being consistent in our dysfunction just because we were afraid of the void that comes with change. But here is the part nobody wants to admit, and this next part explains why your life has suddenly felt so lonely and why certain people have vanished. Have you noticed it? The sudden silence. The people who used to call you every day to complain are suddenly nowhere to be found. The people who used to poke at you are suddenly quiet. It's because you shifted your frequency, and they can no longer find a hook in you. Stay with me, because I'm about to explain exactly what is happening to your atmosphere. This happens because your spirit has finally reached what we call the threshold of maturity. Let's look at the science and the spirit of this. Your brain has something called neuroplasticity. For years, your trauma pathways were like 10-lane highways, fast, easy, and automatic. Your peace pathways were like overgrown dirt roads. But recently, through your trials, you've been doing the hard work of paving new roads. Your mind used to think, I have to defend myself to survive. It thought, if I don't control this situation, I will be destroyed. But the reality is, you finally realize that your identity is not found in the battles you win, but in the God you serve. The psychological reality: when you refuse to react to a trigger, you are performing a pattern interrupt. You are literally starving the old neural pathways of their fuel. The fuel for your trauma is your attention and your emotional reaction. By withdrawing your reaction, you are killing the old version of you. It is a ego death. And the ego does not go quietly. This is why you felt that internal itch to speak up, that burning desire to tell them off. That was the old you fighting for its life. And you let it die. The spiritual reality. In the unseen realm, there are contracts of familiar spirits. They are assigned to families and individuals based on predictable weaknesses. If your father struggled with anger, they expect you to struggle with anger. If your mother struggled with fear, they expect you to struggle with fear. They have a file on you. But when you reach this threshold of maturity, you did something that wasn't in the file. You chose divine indifference. You chose sovereign peace. This caused a system error in the spiritual realm. The entities that were assigned to keep you in that cycle had to report back that the target is no longer responding to the frequency of shame. This is why you are seeing an acceleration. This is why doors are opening that you didn't even knock on. You didn't just win the moment, you canceled a spiritual contract that was designed to keep you small for another decade. You moved from the wilderness psychology into the promised land psychology. In the wilderness, you survive on manna, just enough for today. In the promised land, you live on the fruit of the land, abundance that you didn't even plant. You shifted from a survivor to an heir. If that hit you, good. It means you needed it. It means the Holy Spirit is confirming that you aren't crazy, you really are different now. Here is the truth you've been avoiding: you've been mourning the loss of friends and opportunities, but you should be celebrating. They didn't leave you, they were evicted because they didn't leave you, they were evicted because they couldn't afford the rent in your new atmosphere. If this message is making you feel uncomfortable, it's because it's calling out the part of you that still wants to play small. Wake up. The old you is dead. Stop trying to perform CPR on a corpse. If you want to accelerate this new season and make sure you never fall back into that old predictability, you must start the vibration of authority habit. Here is the mental and spiritual trick that actually works. Most people think authority is about yelling or being alpha. It's the opposite. True authority is total internal stability. Step 1, the 5-second holy pause. When an old wound is poked, when someone disrespects you, when a bill comes that you can't pay, when an old flame texts you, you must wait 5 seconds before you speak, move, or even think a follow-up thought. In those 5 seconds, you are decoupling from your nervous system. You are moving from the reptilian brain to the spirit man. Step 2, the identity declaration. In that pause, you must whisper, not just think, but whisper, this statement: I no longer live in that version of me. That contract is null and void. You are speaking to the spiritual realm and your own subconscious. You are reminding the familiar spirits that they are looking at a new creation. Step 3, the mirror recalibration. Every morning, look yourself in the eye and say, I am spiritually unpredictable to the enemy, but I am perfectly aligned with my Father. You aren't just being patient, you are commanding the spiritual realm to align with the matured version of your soul. You are teaching your body that it is safe to be at peace. You are training your brain to seek growth instead of comfort. This habit will change your life because it forces you to remain sovereign over your emotions. When you own your reactions, you own your destiny. When someone else can control your emotions, they are your master. But when you become shockingly mature, God becomes your only master. This is where the divine acceleration begins. What used to take years will now take weeks, because you no longer need lessons in the same old cycles. You've passed the test. You've moved to the next grade. Most people will ignore this. They will hear this message, feel a spark for 10 minutes, and then go right back to their old reactions, their old drama, and their old predictability. They will stay exactly where they are, wondering why their life feels like a broken record. They will keep wearing the crown of shame we talked about earlier, wondering why their head feels so heavy. They will stay exactly where they are because they are more in love with their story than they are with their potential. But you felt the shockwave. You know that something in the atmosphere has shifted. You know that you are being watched by heaven with expectation and awe. You are the chosen one who actually chose back. You are the one who decided that the cycle stops with you. Don't be most people. Don't go back to being predictable. Don't go back to being controllable. Walk out of this moment like someone heaven is watching. Walk like someone who knows their yes carries weight and their silence carries thunder. The spiritual realm is still shaking from your last decision. Imagine what will happen when you make the next one. When you become shockingly mature, God becomes your only master. This is where the divine acceleration begins. What used to take years will now take weeks, because you no longer need lessons in the same old cycles. You've passed the test. You've moved to the next grade. Most people will ignore this. They will hear this message, feel a spark for 10 minutes, and then go right back to their old reactions, their old drama, and their old predictability. They will stay exactly where they are, wondering why their life feels like a broken record. They will keep wearing the crown of shame we talked about earlier, wondering why their head feels so heavy. They will stay exactly where they are because they are more in love with their story than they are with their potential. But you felt the shockwave. You know that something in the atmosphere has shifted. You know that you are being watched by heaven with expectation and awe. You are the chosen one who actually chose back. You are the one who decided that the cycle stops with you. Don't be most people. Don't go back to being predictable. Don't go back to being controllable. Walk out of this moment like someone heaven is watching. Walk like someone who knows their yes carries weight and their silence carries thunder. The spiritual realm is still shaking from your last decision. Imagine what will happen when you make the next one.